Well, with our panellists in the room today, we've got Dileepa Fonseka, BusinessDesk senior journalist, and Chris Henry from 818 PR. Thanks very much for joining us both, Chris, Dileepa. Wonderful to have you here this morning. I'm just wondering, are you worried about the gas catastrophe, Chris?
I'm personally not super worried about it. It feels like to me like a great opportunity for us to be putting our focus towards the renewable energies. Maybe easier said than done. But I was interested to see that they were saying that in the last 20 years, they've barely found anything. So it does seem like the idea of going after more of it seems a little bit redundant.
Yeah, it kind of feels like politicians on both sides of this are sort of being a little bit dishonest. One side is overplaying the chances of a major gas find offshore, and the other one is, and I mean, I think the other side is perhaps not admitting that actually this whole transition period is actually going to be a lot costly if you want to go full hog on it than perhaps people have admitted, and then also it's going to require perhaps the use of fossil fuels like gas potentially as well, and I think that's sort of what we're seeing playing out here. I mean, I think in terms of the gas finds, you could potentially find the gas, but the issue has always been, can you extract it at the cost? Does the decommissioning cost, is it low enough to justify it, basically?
Right, and the frustrating thing I think I found talking to Chris Hipkins there was, look, could you maybe just reflect on that decision? Yeah. Was it too much too soon? Is there any kind of hubris in there? Was there maybe a better transition plan that you could have worked out? He seemed to be pretty full bore on that tack of, no, we did the right thing. Politics is like that though. I guess you sometimes get punished for sort of pulling back, but at the moment he seems to be doing quite well. Up in the opinion public polls, the Labour's up I think about 3 points overnight in that poll. Did we pay any attention to polls at this point?
Well, how well is well, I guess. I think if you add the two percentages, I think, together of National and Labour, I think it's 67 or 60-ish percentage. I think the last poll is something 60-something percentage. I mean, I think 2017, the combined vote of National and Labour was something like over 80% or something. So when you think about it, both these kind of big sort of centre left, centre right parties have actually declined in popularity combined. So is that good? I don't know. I suppose it depends how you look at it. But definitely, I guess, if you look at polls as a trend, I suppose Labour is going to be more pleased than National at this point around that.
Yeah, we're all trying to find where they're at. Now, I wanted to ask you, Chris, about Instagram and its location finding app that we've, this location sharing application that we've heard about.
Yeah,
Tell us more about this.
It looks fantastic. I was reading about this morning. So Instagram have come out and they've essentially put a share your live location function. It's pretty similar to what would have been Find Your Friends or originally on Snapchat. But I think the issue is that they have been, some people have been added automatically without their permissions. We checked this morning. We're clear, aren't we? No one knows who we are. But it is interesting to see where your friends are, and some people are doing it. And I suppose raises a huge amount of privacy risks, especially, I spotted where a few people lived this morning as I was going through. Have you checked yours?
Oh, I haven't looked this morning. I've been a little bit busy just trying to keep ahead of the...
Well, that might be a job for after.
Yeah. It's kind of like sort of find your iPhone headphones or whatever. But this, I guess, if there's nothing wrong with a feature, but if you're automatically putting people on it, that could raise all kinds of problems and I guess all kinds of questions about how this rolls out. And we know these tech companies are not often very good at listening when they get things right.
I think when we were experimenting with this feature just before, and this was actually my first time seeing it, I thought this was just location sharing on posts, which has obviously been there forever. Yeah. But this is a totally new feature. When you go into the menu, there is a bit of a drop-down menu where, to be honest, I think if this segment hadn't been part of the whole experience, I probably wouldn't have paid that much attention to the notices that were coming out, and that is the present a set of options, including a location share, and I could see how someone by default could just click it without perhaps realizing that they've clicked it. You do still need, I think, some action on your part to make it happen. But this is the story of these tech products right now, right? They want to nudge you towards a certain option.
Chris, what did you make of the story that we had before about the young guy who was being quite entrepreneurial but quite illegal with his activities there, bringing in all of those drugs?
I mean, I wouldn't want to say conflicted is the right terminology, but there's a certain element of impressiveness in terms of how he'd all done it. I mean, during COVID lockdowns, I was baking banana bread, not trying to find out how to bring ketamine into the country. He seems very entrepreneurial, and I'm sure goes without saying that it would be much better if he put his skills to better use. But he seems to have been quite successful.
And how's your banana bread? None for us this morning, I notice.
No, my banana bread stayed in COVID. His ketamine seems to have gone a bit further along.
Yeah, and come to the attention of the courts. Look, I mean, obviously, you don't want to encourage that, but there's something to be said for trying to channel that, surely.
Yeah, I mean, there's interesting parts of this case, right? I mean, I think that he got his first, I think they mentioned, break into this whole industry on Discord, which is a social media service for primarily targeted gamers. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a kind of age-old story, the mediums and things like that change, but, it's people and young people making bad decisions that reflect, that have long-term consequences, and where they could have redirected their energies into other things.
But I guess also we've got like a global economy now, and as you say, these applications. So once upon a time, your bad decision might have involved you and a mate making some bad call, I don't know, trying to buy alcohol underage at the bottle shop or something. Now you could be connecting with somebody on the other side of the planet who can ship you stuff. So the risks seem much, much higher. Yeah,
and has our justice system caught up with exactly the severity of these offences? Not saying that this is not a serious offence, but in the sense that, I think that we've still got, as our society, these questions unresolved about how we actually deal with criminal offending of this type, deal with drug offending, what's the best way to tackle it, are we making the problem potentially worse with some penalties rather than trying to rehabilitate the offenders, who's too far gone, those kind of big existential questions, and I think this just shows you that they are continuing.
And I guess also, I mean, I've got some questions about how so much of the stuff just wanders through the border. Obviously, our processes for catching it, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I remember the TV shows back around border security and all that sort of stuff. I felt like those dogs were out and about catching things all the time. But it seems like, as you say, as time has gone on and the technology has become more and more advanced in different places, it's a bit of a whack-a-mole sort of scenario, isn't it, where these things are popping up, and obviously it hasn't worked out very well for him in the end, and I'm sure he's learned his lesson.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, beagles sniffing out apples is probably the greater downside risk for our economy of some sort of strange moth or something getting through, rather than, not to play down the horrible toll that drugs.
Yeah.
Well, the question you always have to ask every time that there's one of these busts, even perhaps in this case, is, well, okay, you caught a couple of $1 million. How much did you not catch coming through?
Sounds like there is a lot. I would, never mind your banana bed, you need to be checking your mailbox occasionally more often.
Absolutely, put a lock on it.